Alright, so today's video is going to be a Ford diesel truck tier list video. So I got inspiration for this video from a Custom Offsets YouTube video I saw a while ago. And in their video what they did was they ranked every diesel truck of the modern era. So for this scale we're doing S is the best and D is the worst. So with that being said, the first truck we have on this list is the 69 IDI. So the 69 IDI I'm going to put into C tier. So this is going to be a more in-depth video than what Custom Offsets did. Not by much, but I'm just focusing on the Ford trucks because I really don't know Dodge and Chevy trucks too well. So that being said, the 69 IDI, they are reliable, cheap, easy to work on, and that's pretty much it for the benefits. Of course, they're made in the 80s, so they don't have a bunch of power, great interiors, transmissions aren't super great on these trucks, even the manuals have their problems. But for the time, they're not a bad truck. And in my opinion, they belong in C tier just because, again, they're reliable and cheap and easy to work on. If they weren't, they definitely belong in D tier just because of the lackluster interiors and the lack of power. But overall, they're a pretty decent truck. Another con I can think is they're very, very hard to start in the winter. You don't want to start when it's cold out. But you don't really see too many of these trucks. So I just think they belong in C tier. They're just an alright truck. So next truck we have is the 73 IDI. I think 73 IDI is a B tier truck. So 73 IDI is a little bit better than 69 IDI. Actually, it's a good bit better. It's got a decent bit more power. It's got a way bigger aftermarket available for it for parts. I like the way that the 73 IDI year trucks look more too. Overall, I think it's just a better truck in pretty much every way, which makes sense because it's newer. Again, cheap, easy to work on, reliable. They tend to last a little bit longer than what a 69 IDI does. And also, I find that these trucks are a little bit easier to start in the cold. That might just be my personal experience, but I think they start a little easier in the cold. And overall, they're just a better truck, and they're reasonably priced too because you can find these trucks, a lot of them have a Banks turbo on them, and they're not real expensive. So overall, a pretty good truck, and I think it just belongs in B tier for all those reasons. Alright, so the next truck we have is the OBS 7.3. The OBS 7.3 is an S tier truck in my opinion. So some good things about it are, of course, the reliability. The OBS 7.3, or the 7.3 in general rather, is one of, if not is the most reliable truck there is. Also, they look great. The interiors are starting to become a little bit better. These trucks offer the ZF5 transmissions, which are great transmissions. The aftermarket's huge for these trucks. Some bad things about these trucks, of course, are their price a little bit high for what they are, which makes sense, though, because they do look great and they are kind of vintage. They're becoming desirable now because of their age. Also, I don't think these trucks have a lot of power, but, you're buying a truck, so you're really not looking for power per se, and again, you can always mod your truck to get more power out of it. So overall, I think that the OBS 7.3 is an S tier truck. The next truck is the Super Duty 7.3, which I think is better than the OBS 7.3 for a couple reasons. First reason being, I typically see the Super Duty 7.3s get more miles in terms of the first engine. So I typically see the first engine go around 500,000 to 600,000 in the Super Duty 7.3s, whereas in the OBS 7.3s, I typically see the first motor blow around 350,000. Of course, it's still a lot of miles to get out of a motor, but things that the Super Duty also does better are the interior is better, the axles are better, and it rides smoother. So really, there's no reason not to get a Super Duty 7.3 if you're looking to get a work truck. If you're looking for a show truck, you're probably going to choose the OBS 7.3 because it does look better. Depending on the day, I might put the OBS above the Super Duty just because of how much better it looks, but overall, from a non-subjective point of view, the Super Duty 7.3 is a better truck. So next we have the 6.0 Power Stroke, which I'm going to put into A tier. So of course I'm biased. This is going to cause a lot of controversy, but I think the 6.0 is truthfully a good truck. So whenever you're looking at a truck to buy, if you're looking at 7.3, you're looking at 20,000 minimum for a sub 200,000 mile truck. And that's in okay condition most of the time. If you're looking for a mint one, you're going to be looking at 25 grand at least. 6.0s, you can find a mint condition 6.0 with a motor less than 150,000 miles for 10 grand. You put 8 grand in the motor. This is what you got. You got a truck that's faster and can tow better than a 7.3. You got a truck that rides better than a 7.3. You got a truck that costed less than a 7.3 and has less miles than a 7.3. And a truck with a lot better interior than a 7.3, especially if you have a King Rancher or Lariat, because those interiors are very nice on the 6.0 years. They're starting to get good interiors on these years of trucks in terms of the higher trims. So for all those reasons, I truthfully think the 6.0 is a great truck. I mean, it's not going to last 500,000 miles like a Super Duty 7.3 is. If you're super, super religious with your maintenance on a 6.0, you're going to get 300, 350,000 miles out of the motor, which is good considering the fact that it's so much better at towing and has so much more power and is just a lot more comfortable overall than what a 7.3 is. You're still going to run into a few issues, high pressure oil leaks, turbo might fail, that sort of thing. But it's not like that sort of stuff doesn't happen with the 7.3. 7.3, you have the CPS sensor will go out. You're going to have other things, an oil leak probably somewhere you're going to have to chase. So overall, I think 6.0 is an A-tier truck. There's really no reason not to get this truck unless you're really afraid. The only times people will say these trucks are terrible and just hate them is when they don't take them to a good mechanic. If you take these trucks to a good, reputable shop that specializes in power strokes, you're going to have a great experience with your 6.0. That's all I have to say about them. I think the value for your money, you're going to be 15 to 18 grand into a truck that's a lot better in every way than a 7.3, but I'm still keeping 7.3 above it because of the fact that you have to do all that stuff to get it to as good as the 7.3, and the 7.3 is still going to outlast it. And you can always throw a bigger turbo and bigger injectors in the 7.3 and make it just as powerful as a 6.0. So next we have the 6.4. 6.4 is a C tier truck. So the reason I'm not putting 6.4 in D tier is because it is the perfect platform to come and swap. So when you're looking at all the facts about the 6.4, we have the interiors are amazing. They upgraded the dash in 2008. The dash looks amazing. The interior looks amazing. It's almost perfect in my opinion. The truck itself on the exterior looks great. I like the front end conversion or the front end upgrade, whatever you want to call it, that they did. I think the 6.4s look almost as good as what the OBS 7.3s do. I just love the way they look. It's so simple, yet it just is very appealing. But then you have the problem with the motor. So obviously everyone knows 6.4 is a terrible motor. You have your 6.0, it's going to blow up. Head gas is going to go. It's 5-6 grand to fix. 6.4, your pistons crack. It's not 5-6 grand. It's somewhere in the realm of $10,000 to $15,000. But in my opinion, you spend $5,000 more. You put a Cummins in it. About $20,000 is what most Cummins swaps were going to cost you, with all the adapters and new engine mounts and all that sort of thing. Your donor truck. It's going to cost you about $20,000. But I'd spend that extra $5 grand and get the Cummins in it because then you have a really, really good truck. And you can find the 6.4 rollers. I see rollers all the time for $6,000 to $8,000 in very good condition. No rust, great interiors. So you have say you spend $8 grand and then you spend another 20 to come and swap it. You have just say $30,000 truck, but it's a very reliable truck with a Ford chassis. And a lot of people think that that's the best combination of trucks, which I agree with. I mean, your Cummins is never going to blow unless you throw stupid power at it. You have a Ford transmission, which the transmissions of these trucks are great. And you have the Ford body, which the interiors look great and the exteriors look great. So, in my opinion, these trucks are really great just for come and swapping them. Like I said, they're cheap. You might even find some people say the 6.4s are great. They delete the trucks before the warranties, or during the warranty rather, before, and they deleted it 10,000 miles, tune it, and they get 270,000 miles out of these trucks. Now, those cases are few and far between, but they can happen, and I'd say that because of that, the 6.4 is a C tier truck. It's not a D tier truck because it's still great whenever it comes to everything but the motor. Now, it might be silly to say that the motor doesn't matter because the motor powers the truck, but as a truck, like if this was just an engine list, yeah, it would be D tier. But as a truck, it's C tier. But it is below the 6.9 IDI just because you don't really want to buy a truck just to have to put another motor in it. So finally, we have the 6.7 trucks. So the first one is the 11 to 16 steel body 6.7s. These are an S tier truck in my opinion, at the top of S tier specifically. So some great things about these trucks are, of course, the motor is very powerful, very good for towing. The motors are also very reliable, especially if you tune and delete them. The only bad things about these trucks I can really think of are the 2011 and 2012 years have turbo failures, which usually happen around 150, 200,000 miles. But in my opinion, that just gives you an excuse to put a bigger turbo on these trucks, which make it even more powerful and better at towing. So really, there's not too much bad about these trucks. I really can't think of anything bad other than what I just stated about the turbos. Yeah, if you break down and you have an expensive repair, it's going to cost you a lot more than what it is if your 7.3 breaks down. But for all the things 6.7 does better, like power, interior, overall chassis, I think that it's a better truck and belongs above the 7.3s. So finally, we have the present 6.7s, so the 2017 to now 6.7s. So I believe these trucks are S tier, but below the steel body 6.7s. Big reason for that is I don't like how the most recent ones look with their huge headlights and huge grills. They have grown on me a little bit, but the main thing I don't like is the little step they have in the beds. That really it's just not tasteful in my opinion. It doesn't look good. It doesn't make the truck look sleek. I just am not a big fan of that, and I think if you want to get in your bed, just step on your tire or on your bumper. But looks are personal preference, and these trucks are great in every other way, in my opinion. I can't say anything bad about them other than that. Great interiors, great motors, reliable motors. 6.7s last as long as the 7.3 if you delete and tune them. So I don't have much bad to say about them. I just like the way that the steel bodies look more. And also like having a steel bed, which I know if you live in the Rust Belt, you might be like, why is that? Because an aluminum bed obviously doesn't rust, but aluminum beds vent a lot easier and also are very light. I know if you have an aluminum bed in a single cab and you're plowing snow, good luck getting traction and plowing that snow because you're going to be sliding all over the place. So that's just personal preference, and a lot of people aren't going to plow snow with their brand new truck, but I like steel more. I just think it's built better, a little bit heavier, and I also like how they look better. You could pretty much ask me tomorrow, and I'd probably switch the order of these trucks around, but today I like the steel body 6.7s more. The interiors are comparable, the motors are comparable. I know on the new trucks you can get the high output motors, but if you tune and delete your steel body 6.7, it's going to put out more power than what a high output motor is. So there's really no reason not to get a steel body over a new one. Also, steel bodies are a lot cheaper. They're like 30 grand cheaper. So I like them more. I think they're more affordable and more reasonable to buy. But overall, if you like this video, consider subscribing and liking it. Also, comment down below if you disagree with anything. I'd like to know specifically what you disagree with. I'm pretty sure some people are going to disagree with the 6.7, 6.4 placements. But again, consider liking the video and subscribing, and thank you for watching.